So this paper is grounded in role theory and foreign policy. And an important underlying assumption is that we assume that states have multiple roles and that some of those roles are more important than others. And so we divide that into master roles and auxiliary roles. And we also then say that master roles and auxiliary roles don't necessarily need to constitute a seamless whole. So there can be dissonance between those two and even outright conflict. And so what we do is create a framework that then says that, you know, under what circumstances do dormant or dissonant roles actually become open conflictually conflicting roles. Now, earlier work has suggested that when there is an auxiliary role that is in conflict with a master role, that there will be pressure to eliminate that auxiliary role that's dissonant or conflictual. We say that, sure, that's a possibility, but there might also be reasons why a state will want to keep that auxiliary role if there is some type of benefit associated with it. And so we theorize that what a state may do in that case is not abandon the auxiliary role, but actually try to modify it to kind of make it workable, to make it less visible, to downplay the conflict with the master role. So we have a framework in the paper, and then we have an illustrative case study. We don't claim that a single case can demonstrate that the theory is definitely valid, but we illustrate with this single case study that our theory is at least plausible. The case study is Russia, and we contend that Russia has a major power role as its master role, that it seeks to be a major power and very much works in the international environment at being seen as a major power. And then that the auxiliary role that we're interested in specific is the role of Russia as a sending country in inter-country adoption. That's been a role that was controversial from the get-go, but it wasn't high profile, so it was initially kind of dissonant, but not really salient, and therefore not in open conflict. And so the case study ends with Russia eventually abandoning the role, but really that has much more to do not with role conflict per se, but with some other external issue that plays a role there. So that's, basically in a nutshell, the paper. Definitely, this could be extended to other countries that have also played a role as sending countries in inter-country adoption, and I'm thinking particularly about China, which clearly seeks to play a more major role on the world stage, but also is a sending country. We also plan to look at, for instance, Ethiopia, which was a major sending country and has not had a major role in the world, but has sought to play a role as a regional leader. And then, other cases where this might apply would, for instance, be South Korea, which has become a modern, highly industrialized society, post-industrial society, and continues to participate in inter-country adoption as a sending country. So, still continues to have that role sort of in the shadows of its foreign policy. And I think that's a really interesting case because that's sort of a gradual change over time as the countries become more wealthy. I also think that this particular idea that countries maintain conflicting auxiliary roles can be applied to other issue areas as well, and I haven't personally looked at that, but in the future that might be another area to extend this idea that there may be other small foreign policy roles, these sort of auxiliary roles that could in certain cases be in conflict with a master role that could also be studied then. And we can look at whether this is applicable not just in the case of the sending role of in ascending role and intercountry adoption, but whether it's also applicable in additional issue areas. So that's, preview of coming attractions or future possibilities.